let's hit the marketplace. May is over. June is now here, so we are officially in the summer months. For those of you who do not follow us, we do have a show Tuesday night at 9:30 where it's just me going on myself, so I don't have my wife to tease during those shows. And we do this show every 11, we try to do it every Saturday from 11 till noon. Join us. And for those of you who have been around, you know, because you've listened to us often enough. There's about 6,500 of you that listen to us every week. And you know that the summer months traditionally are the low months of the year in terms of the average price. So it's the best time to kind of buy a home, the worst time to sell your home, okay? But the last 2 years in a row, everything reversed. It turned out that the spring was the bad time to sell your home, and it was a good time to buy. And the summer was the good period, and it was the bad time to buy and the good time to sell. So quite interesting. This year, what happened is our spring was on fire. It continued to grow each and every month, to the point where this month, Anthony, the difference between 153, 196 is what, 40,000?
Around 40,000.
Something. So we're looking at about a $40,000 increase. And then, so from the year 137 to now...
43,000 actually.
43?
Yeah, because 153 went to 96.
Is this April to May?
And that's April to May. And so from January, we were at 1037, and now we're at 1196. So we're almost at 1.2. So that's 170,000, roughly speaking. About 170,000, 160,000, let's call it, $1,000 has been the increase in the average price this year alone. In the eye of the storm, where we started off with an absolutely horrendous time, double-digit negative increases, we are seeing now that the prices have increased almost 160,000. And some people are even saying that the prices are going to increase to where we left off last year. Now, where we are now is where we were last year. So we're basically balancing even. But remember, May of last year was horrible, right? It started off with January last year being at 1.25 roughly, then 1.334, and then almost 3 even in March. So those 3 years, then it went down in April to 1.25, and then it went down in May to 1.21. And so we are only about $15,000 off of the mark from last year, May. But last May was that declining period, and we have sort of ramped back up to May. Now, if we can roll over to April and then to March and to February and get those increases in, we're going to be right back to where we were before all of this started. So what that tells me, and I don't believe that's going to happen, okay, because we got a long way to go, because remember, we started the peak with 1.33 roughly million. And we're at 1.2 almost million right now. So we're about $130,000 away from the peak. And the market seems to be going up. But the summer months usually is a lower pressure on prices. One of the things to keep in mind, like, is the market going to continue to go up? And typically in the summer months, the market starts to decline. And we've been seeing declining coming around the edges. So the Toronto area is still increasing in price, but the surrounding areas are actually not keeping pace at the same rate, with the exception of Durham, okay? Durham is on fire, and so is Eastern Toronto on fire, okay? So let's take a look at some of these numbers.
Especially if you have a income space in your home.
Oh, yes.
Forget it. Like,
so
it's nuts.
Yeah. So if we were to look strictly at central Toronto, okay, so we're not going to grab the surrounding areas, the GTA. We're just going to look simply at central Toronto. What we're looking at, what number I like to look at to see the activity, the pace, the aggressiveness of the marketplace is the average sales to listing ratio. Okay, the average sales to listing ratio is for Eastern Toronto, or for Toronto as a whole, on average is 104%, which means that if a property is listed at $100, it sells for $104. Okay, so the aggressiveness of the marketplace. So Toronto is at 104%. Toronto West is keeping pace with that at 104%. But Toronto Central is at 102%. Toronto East is at 111%. Just showing you how much more on fire the eastern part of Toronto is versus the rest of Toronto. But why is that? Why would the eastern part
more home for your buck?
More home for your buck. It's the lowest priced area with the proximity to the center of Toronto. So that's why that area is tight. And guess where Durham region is connected to? The eastern part of Toronto. So it would make sense that Durham region would also be on fire. Its average is 108. And then we're looking at Oshawa being at 111. One of the cheapest places with that kind of proximity to Toronto to live is on fire
Which
at 100.
Which is not as cheap anymore.
Which is not as cheap. So you got Oshawa and you got Ajax. Oshawa at 111% and Ajax at 110%. So those are the parts that are really on fire. I wanted to make a special mention to Markham, which is at 113%. I feel sorry for anybody who's looking to buy in Markham right now. But the summer months should slow that down. We will see. Something that I found was a little bit interesting was that the average selling home, the most commonly sold price point, is the $1 million to 1.25 and the 1.25 to 1.5. So basically, the homes that are selling the most in the detached range is from $1 million to $1.5 million. And then when we move to semi-detaches, it drops down from the 900,000 to $1.25 million. And the same thing for attached rows. They're selling mainly in that price point. And then the townhouses have dropped down from 700,000 to 800,000 is the most common price point. Or
how's that a drop? I'm sorry.
From 700,000 to 900,000 for townhouses, and condos are actually 500,000 to 700,000 is the average pricing of the properties that have sold year to date in those
basically what he's saying is that the prices he's giving you is like the most houses have sold in that price range for those type of properties.
Okay.
Right on. And so that
sometimes you do need somebody to explain what he's saying.
Yeah, maybe I'm going a little too fast for myself, but I do want to cram this in a short period of time. And you guys had wasted a lot of time with stuff.
I offered for you to go first.
Yes, but that would also take up the hour. So sales at 24.7% plus, which is really kind of miraculous that sales have actually grown that much in this environment. Now, typically speaking, it's just the 1 month off. So the number of sales prior to May, so May was a little over 9,000. April was around 7,500 sales, and March it was 6,800 sales. February is like 4,700.
Just to jump in here. So this we're probably gonna talk about this a bit later, but sales have gone up, or I think it's about 24%, 24.7%. But new listings have gone down by 18.7%, which is again a lot of pressure on the pricing because again, there's more houses are being sold, less are being offered, right? So that's just going to drive the prices up, which is why our sales to listing prices probably gone higher.
Which is what's been around for years. Supply and demand drives everything.
Right. And so, as Anthony said, sales have gone up 24%. New listings are down 18.7%, like he said. And active listings, the number of inventory left over is down almost 24%, almost 23.1%. active listings are down. So even the buyers, for what they could see versus last year, they're down quarter of the inventory. So there's really not a lot to even choose from, which makes it very difficult for buyers when they don't have choices. And so that in itself is really what is the thing that is holding the market back a little bit. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. And please let us know your thoughts in the comments, as well as any questions you may have. We're live most Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure to tune in. Thank you again for watching, and remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon so you can stay up to date on all our future uploads.